Our subject: This racist world controls our minds. After they had gained physical control of our ancestors, the first thing they did was work on gaining control of their minds. They understood that if you control the mind, the body would follow the dictates of the controller. After they had control of their minds, they impressed on those minds the ideology of black inferiority and white superiority. This ideology was internalized by our ancestors, causing self-deprecation, and was inherited by us through the blood and the slave culture, and supported by the environment, words, and actions of the white man with the powerful support of his visual aids. Words such as Negro, black, heathen, African, uncivilized, and ugly are graphic, and they are both audio and visual. Their intent when we read or hear them is for us to immediately associate them negatively with our black self. These words are all defined as negatives. For instance, the term Negro is not a name of any group of people, but was used as a term designating an ethnic or racial group created by the master. To make matters worse, the word was written with the first letter in lower caps. In other words, we became an adjective. We didn't qualify to be a subject. The term heathen was reserved for all black people because we worship the one God through our traditional religions. We use items whose symbolism they did not understand in our religious rituals and carried some on our persons. So we were defined as heathenish, idol, and fetish worshippers. We were defined as heathens by them even as they wore crucifixes, rosary beads, used blessed handkerchiefs, sprinkled with holy water, put ash on their foreheads on Ash Wednesday, carried palm leaves on Palm Sunday, and etc. as part of their religious practices. This man has a game going on, and we are the tools and pawns of the game. Now, first of all, he created the term Africa as a name for our homeland. So consequently, we were defined as Africans. But in his language, African is defined as savage, heathenish, and uncivilized. He supported his definition through the use of his schools and information media to teach these downright lies and distortions of history. Then he used symbols and images to buttress his racist definitions and claims. Through movies, we were bombarded with negative images of Africans running around in the jungle with bones in their noses, engrossed in cannibalism, warring with each other, and waiting for Tarzan, the lord of the jungle, to police and protect them. These are powerful negative images induce many of us to hate or despise our homeland, our ancestors, and consequently ourselves. The definition of the word ugly is really subjective and is dependent on the prerogative of the individual's perception and feelings. The white man masterfully decided to define beautiful women as a combination of white skin, lanky blonde hair, no lips, large breasts, and flat buttocks. Generally, black women do not fit this profile and consequently are defined as ugly. So because they want to be defined as beautiful, they bleach and perm their hair or wear blonde and red wigs. They go to professionals to have face peels and skin lightening treatments, or they apply deep pigmenting creams bought over the counter to aid the process. They do this even while white women are trying to look like them. White women are getting injections in the lips so they will appear fuller and more like the so-called ugly lips of the black woman. Many white women are also getting injections or having surgery to add a little weight and roundness to their buttocks. Most of them would just love to have a permanent tan, more melanin. See how tricky they are? Many words and phrases in the English language are used to patronize and cajole us. Words and phrases such as "you can really sing," or "black people really have rhythm," or "that was really clever of you," or "you guys really can play sports," or "you sure are a happy-go-lucky fella," and etc., etc. They are all either patronizing or condescending or intended to cajole and ridicule us. Words such as black, Negro, slave, etc. encourage negativeness in our minds through association. Not only are we trapped within his worldview, but he uses forced segregation, usually with us consigned to the ghettos, while he resides in the suburbs of the hills and has us patrolled by his local foot soldiers, the police departments, to keep us under control. Then there is his use of symbols and icons he projects to validate his superiority and our inferiority. In the use of symbols, it has been mostly with character symbols that he has been most successful. Take the image of Stepin Fetchit, the slow-talking, head-scratching, imbecilic stereotype utilized in movies as a depiction of the black man. We were so hungry to see black actors on the screen that many of us would go to movies to see any film he had a part in. While we sat there laughing and enjoying Stepin Fetchit, we drank in heavy doses of racist ideology, which slowly but effectively killed or caused a considerable lowering of our self-esteem. But worst of all, this image and its associations were imprinted on our minds. The caricature symbolized in Stepin Fetchit was not a new symbol, but rather an updated version of the Sambo symbol. We still have that same symbol being used in Hollywood and television today. They are using some black men today to participate in a subtler version of the same symbol. This is not an attack on black male actors. They are just doing their jobs. However, in the process, they are being used as tools for the destruction of their people. Images are powerful and register in the memory of the observer, and can act either as an enhancer or inhibitor to self-actualization. This occurs in all whose minds have had images flashed on them. Let me explain what lasting effects images have on all minds, the learned and the non-learned. Example: when you see the image of a rabbit beating drums and going on and on and on, what do you associate it with? Why, Energizer batteries, right? What if you see the famous golden arches? McDonald's, right? What if you're constantly bombarded with negative images? You will call to memory whatever was associated with the image each time you experience the image, or you will call forth the association that is displayed. The white man's social, political, and economic system are so permeated with racist symbols that when we confront them, we often surrender under their power, and the determined attacks of these symbols, icons, and images of the ideology of our inferiority, and resign ourselves to a state of hopelessness. This racist world must be rejected because racism and its dynamics is not a problem we blacks can solve. It quite simply is a white problem. They have to make the choice to dismantle it in their minds, in their educational, social, and political institutions. We are reminded by various scholars that racism is part and parcel of the white world's environment, its institutions, and everything else. Since the eradication of racism requires changes in his education, culture, ideology, and his institutions, even if he wanted to eradicate it, many years of conscious effort on his part would be necessary. If you weigh that against what he is going to lose, his special privileges he has because of racism, you shouldn't have any high expectations of racism coming to an end. There are two options we have for dealing with racism. We can accept it or we can reject it. Thank you. The preceding information was taken from When God Was Black, pages 147 to 153.